That's gonna be a spicy video. I'm talking about what I think is a missed opportunity and actually a dumb reaction by the NIO community. So what I'm talking about here is a tweet by Jason. First of all, I don't know Jason personally. However, I'm following him on Twitter, and he yesterday tweeted out he shared my video that I made and was saying, like, I'm working on Shinfei's interview that addressed most of the questions that I've raised. This was about battery swapping, and I knew that Shinfei actually did this podcast in Chinese. And so he's saying here, please stay tuned and I will post on my Patreon community once it's done. Now, what has happened is that in the comment section of this very tweet, some actors came out and said, like, why the fuck do you put this behind a paywall, right? So Jason here is asking for Patreon support and actually sharing his opinion. Not only that, he's also putting in some work in actually writing those articles. I had some similar feedback when I yesterday made a tweet about that I did an additional video about the ES8 gate, basically more context and flavor around why I was criticizing the ES8 design. And by the way, no, it's not that just some of these knobs are not working, or that I was too dumb to press it. No, this is more from an investor's perspective, and I'm really thinking that they are missing out on sales here, so that's why I'm worried about it. But anyways, that's not a topic for this video. It's more about the feedback that we are getting here from the some actors, and I'm not gonna name them on Twitter here, about that it's a wrong thing to ask people for money and actually putting stuff behind the paywall here. Now, why do I think is this a missed opportunity and actually a wrong reaction from the NIO community here? First of all, let me be transparent. This is my revenue that I'm going to make for this month. This is around 450 euros. So that's actually a great month. This is a lot of money because I'm currently doing more videos again because I have found more time. And so this is kind of the revenue that I'm getting from YouTube for putting out NIO videos there, which is great because it pays some of the bills, but certainly with that amount of money, it's not paying a lot of the bills, right? So the assumption that YouTubers like me or other people out there are making tons of money on such kind of a content is just wrong. That's the first point. The second point why I don't get this is I think Jason is actually a smart guy, and he's doing exactly what I really would love to see more of, actually publishing smart content around NIO, around EVs in general, around China. And frankly, it's not really easy these days to put out your face and talk positively about NIO or China, right? There's lots of backlash. And so I really value that Jason is doing the work that he is doing. And I do think that here we as a community should actually, really encourage him to do that and support him. Because that's, I think, where some of these commentators are wrong about saying it's a bad thing to put stuff on a Patreon or behind a paywall. I actually think we should enable more people to actually create a business around this. And I think this is also something that NIO doesn't understand well, how important the investors community can be, for example, for future sales, for the positive vibes around this company, and frankly, for building something that other companies simply don't have. One company that really understood that is Tesla. I grew up with the Tesla community, and I saw how valuable it is when the community is actually pointing out false narratives, finds real investor due diligence, can be negative, can be positive. It doesn't have to be always with the Tesla goggles on, right? However, Tesla really saw this potential in my point of view. For example, here, Farsad is running a great channel around Tesla. He's an ex-Tesla employee. And you can see on Twitter, Elon Musk is kind of endorsing him because he's interacting with his tweets, thereby giving him an audience. Then we have channels like who I kind of grew up with, like Hyperchange, Gally. He's been running a great channel during the dark times of Tesla, really encouraging. And he ended up interviewing Elon Musk. Third Row Tesla podcast, all of those actors come together and they provide more clarity, transparency, and on an ongoing basis. And all of this could only happen because all of these have just a massive following, a great support, and actually manage to create a business out of this content creation. So personally, I think this is a huge opportunity for NIO, and I'm very happy that we have around 300 Patreon supporters. This really keeps us independent and going. And of course, I lost lots of the patrons along the way because it's a tough time to be invested in China and in the Chinese market. And frankly, I also didn't always have the time to do lots of the coverage as maybe people have expected me to do. And that's again where the problem is. Again, there's some sort of opportunity cost, like what I'm doing with my time, what I'm doing instead of taking projects and so on. And the more we get people build actually a business around that, the better it will be for NIO in the end, because it will give more support. And so this is also why I now personally have decided to become a patron of Jason here, Proud Investors. By the way, he's sharing great stuff here, and it's actually even helping my work because he has translated this interview, and I'm now possibly able to do a video about this topic on top of that. So that's great stuff. I'm also supporting CNEV data. You may have seen that I've met with Jia Wei, who's running CNEV Post and CNEV data. By the way, for him, it's not an easy business. He is only dependent on some of the Google ads. I think he's doing a great job of putting unbiased information out there. If you think that this is an easy stuff to get rich quick scheme, I can tell you it's definitely not. And even a small movement on NIO stock price to the downside or to the upside has a far more bigger impact than what I earn monthly on YouTube. So it's kind of ridiculous to say that I'm doing this for the money, I'm doing this for the clips. Most of the content creators out there are most certainly not doing it for that. And if I were in the position of NIO, I would actually think of how could I enable those creators to really build a business around it. I, as a part of the community around NIO stock investment, have decided to support Jason here because I think he's providing valuable content. I'm more than happy to pay for that. I mean, this is a drop in the bucket compared to the money that I have invested, and I guess that's the case for most of the people out there. Meanwhile, NIO would have the perfect environment with this NIO app and the ecosystem and NIO points and so on to help creators actually build a business around that in some sort of a ways with collaborations and just providing them with a great platform here to do something. However, that potential is not maxed out in my point of view. So I think that's also something to consider from NIO's point of view. Tesla, in contrast, has certainly played this perfectly. This is why Tesla is so successful. This is why Tesla has a very strong community. And of course, in the end, those who are believers in the company have benefited in the long run because they made lots of gains on the stock aside of that. And so I think all of this is paying into each other. I just want to raise some awareness for that. And then thanks for watching and see you in the next videos.